on? What's going on, everybody? I am Kyle Leaf Wins, host of the Making Better Track Show. I am here with my guest, MPC producer, seasoned producer, and MPC user. Give it up for Quickstrike in the house. Otherwise known as Quickstrike 209 on YouTube. I got it in the description. Subscribe to his channel right now. But before I start off anything, if you're like, yo, who's Quickstrike? Let me put you on the game right quick. Check this out. Just in case y'all ain't know, those his fingers, pause, you feel me? You know what I mean? He is rocking the MPC Key 37, doing justice the way it's supposed to these machines. This is what we talk about when we talk about programming, being one with the instrument. This is what happens when a seasoned producer grabs a new piece of gear or old piece of gear. He knows his way around it. He knows how to move on his MPC Key 37 because he's a producer. Going through everything. Below, let me get started. Everybody give it up to Quickstrike. Quickstrike in the house. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Welcome to the show, to the MPC Key Group exclusive live stream. How you doing this week?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain, man. I got this new MPC Key 37, and man, it's sparking new creativity, man, like never before. I mean, not never before, but for this modern times, it's doing something for me that the other ones just wasn't. I mean, it was close, but my flow with this is just making me more excited, man. Just throughout this week, man, I'm feeling like a better place mentally and everything. So that's how I'm doing, man.
I'm glad to hit it. You know what's funny? You're not the only person I've seen say that. Especially of particular generations. A lot of people are like, yeah, I got the X, I got the Live, but it's something about this Key 37 just sparking up new inspiration. And I keep on telling people, I told people when the MPC Key 61 came out, I have an ASR 10. And if people don't understand what that floppy disk life is like, you know what I'm saying, that wait time life is like, that jumping around the buttons of that life is like, the MPC Key series has a flow. It puts you in a flow. It's like sound, melody, it's a vibe versus pads. Nothing's wrong with pads. We all grew up on MPC pads. My first MPC was MPC 2000, but it's something about the keys and the pads and that familiar workflow with the keys. But before we even get to that keys conversation, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about and ask you about the keys conversation, I do this thing where I have like a lightning round of questions and things of that nature so people can get to know you better. And again, this is producer Quickstrike. This is Kyle Leaf Wins here on the Making Better Track Show, interviewing Quickstrike here. And let everybody get to know him a little more. All right, so let me ask you a couple questions. Let's vibe out. Question number one. If you had to work on an album for your favorite artist and you could only take 2 pieces of gear with you to complete that goal, what would they be and why?
Dead or alive?
You said what?
I said dead or alive.
No, I'm talking about pieces of dead or alive. Dead or alive.
Okay. All right, so yeah, man, I like to work with my favorite artist. That would be Prince, man. And then when it comes to equipment, man, it would have to be like on the new Pro Tool. And when it comes to like a drum machine or something, it probably has to be ooh, that's a hard one, bro. It's out of the 3,000, 4,000, and 2,500.
Oh, the 3,000, 4,000, and 2,500. All right.
I got to go with the 2,500 because the process will be faster, and I already imagine Prince will be on my ass about speed. Like, come on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, did you see that Prince documentary with all his engineers?
Yeah.
Talking about his workflow? And I was like, bro, that's real pressure.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's crazy? Because I worked with the Barges, and they was El DeBarge. He was kind of doing me the same thing. He was like, man, my name is Quickstrike, right? And he was like, hey, man, your name is Quickstrike, but who doesn't call you Slow Strike? Because you were real slow. I was like, oh man.
That's that different old school like mindset though. That kind of like, let's go. That we used the analog tape, and analog tape costs money. A take is a take. You know what I'm saying? All right, next question. What's your favorite 3 beats ever produced and why?
Me or
Yeah.
for the gym?
No, yours.
Ooh, my favorite three. Man, I don't have a top favorite three. I remember all my beats, but ooh, this is a close one. But yeah, my favorite my top three. Man, well, that's a hard question.
It is like babies. It's like children. It's like
Yeah,
picking children.
yeah, man. But I do have like some nice ones, and the reason why I picked them is because they were collaboration with other musicians or the artists, and it turned out to something more magical than what I could have did. You know, just because of what the creative vibe and what the process of what they put in, and as a team, you know, a band, we want to call it, it comes out to another level versus just you by yourself.
Yeah.
And those tracks came out immaculate, man, because of team effort. And it just reminds me like when you sample music, you hear what they have on those records.
Hmm.
That's a team effort. That's the band. That's the creative process of everybody. It's just not one mind. So
And it's
those
like three different great memories.
exactly, man.
For
The sessions and experience with the people of when you came up with it. Sometimes you might be blood, blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm saying? You might be frustrated with the people, whatnot, but the end process is what made it like, oh man, this is magical. Yeah,
all right, so who are your three favorite producers of all time?
that's another one, man. But I really like Timberland, bro. The old Timberland. Uh, Prince.
The
Um,
ASR Timbaland. The
yeah,
ASR Timbaland.
I like Prince, man. And then this is two different people, but they from the same camp, which is uh uh uh. It's on the tip of my tongue right now, man. Ooh, man, it was around the '90s, '80s. Dang, what is it? The Prince people too. I mean, they actually worked for Prince for a hot second. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was gonna say it, but I was like, oh, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. I was gonna say it. I was gonna say it.
and
Jimmy
so
Jam. You hear
please,
me?
yeah, I definitely hear you. Yeah, but if you notice, like, I like all three of those guys because they have a lot of melodics and percussion and rhythm going on. You know what I'm saying? So that's my style. I like that energy and movement and this the vibe of the fast pace, or it could be was it double time, so it's still kind of fast paced, but it's slow. So I like that movement.
Yeah, but people don't understand the power of rhythm. Like I would strongly suggest anybody. I was on a flight, my first time flying to the West Coast 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm late. First time flying to the West Coast 2 years ago. I was like on a 4 hour plus flight plus a layover. Excuse me. And they had this documentary, and I'd said this before, of Ray Parker Jr., the guy who made Ghostbusters. And he
Mm,
started off his career as a rhythm guitarist. I forgot the name, but everybody should check this documentary out if you're a producer. And he was sought after because of his rhythm guitar skills. And back in it, like right now, people use splice, they use loops, but back
mm,
then they had rhythm guitarists. They had particular drummers they brought into the session.
session, yeah.
And he had stories of just creating loops, like old school loops, of you having a rhythm guitar and things of that nature, and the power of rhythm. And so when you say Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, you say Prince, you say Timbaland, these are three different unique types of rhythm to create a vibe.
Hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of people uh, should take heed of the past. And this is why this conversation is great, because think about it. People creating rhythms on instruments. We have MPC instruments, MPC key instruments, or so on and so forth, no matter what anybody uses. But we're an MPC key group, so we're going to talk about it. But the MPC key is literally an instrument. And one of the people I looked up to, rest in peace, one of my mentors in New York, his name was Sam Taylor. He was a blues man. He would sleep with his guitar. He would play it so much, he became one with that instrument. So anytime he got on stage, it was like second nature, instant rhythms, freestyling, different progressions on stage. And that's what I wish that hip hop would just, well, I know West Coast hip hop and down South hip hop. I know East Coast hip hop, not so much, but there's a lot of musicianship in particular regions that do merge the two. And you got to give it up to the West Coast because they've always held those values of musicianship with production.
Yes, sir.
It
I
wasn't
noticed that.
just
Hmm.
about sampling this, sampling. And listen, I'm born and raised in New York City. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't got a problem. I'm born and raised in New York City. I always say when it comes to New York City producers, we are literally the people that take sound and then create a rhythm from random sounds and things of that nature. We have some musicians and things of that nature, but when it comes to the West Coast, when it comes to lead synths, when it comes to Moog synths, over drum machines, over percussion, vocal, things of that nature. Like it's just a different styles of production, and you guys held the musicianship from the beginning, even on to now, even with the new styles of West Coast music and things of that nature.
Sir, because let me tell you, when I started, man, with my little music journey, I started. I got some gray hairs, but I mean, depending on these kids, man. But I'm not that old, bro. I
Mm-hmm.
was born in the '80s, bro. But uh, my journey when I started, I just had keyboard, and I just wanted to play the piano and make musical elements. Just play different things and make it sound good with textures. And in the beginning, I really didn't have influences. It just stuff that I heard as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pop said something to the degree like I can't really, I'm gonna misquote him, but man, he said something where pretty much he grew up listening to these people, and it was like what molded him. And it kind of did the same thing where like I heard these people, but I didn't know their names. And as I got older, I find myself going back to some of them rhythms and some of them licks and melodies, not knowing it unconsciously. And then somebody like, "Hey, man, that sound like," and I'm like, "Oh man, you are right." Like, damn, that's crazy. It influenced me. But I was saying all this to say this: the musicality of the West Coast, right? We would have instruments, and when I'm growing up from the '90s and '80s, I would hear all these different instruments, but then they would hit a hard 808 or a hard bass,
Mm-hmm.
that dun, 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 stuff like that, and I'm like, man. But where I went different, everybody else around me noticed is I start going sample based heavy, like hard, and then incorporating those instruments with it.
Mm-hmm.
And people will be like, man, Quickstrike is always doing them samples like East Coast type stuff. But then he'll put a bass line on top of it. Like he got some weird. They would say my stuff is different, like movie based, like it sounds like movies or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just tripped me out because I really always realized that, and I think it was because of my influences of who I would listen to when I did listen to it, because I was so surrounded with the West Coast that I was trying to hear what y'all was doing. I'm like, man, listen to that.
It's gumbo. It's mixing styles to create your own style.
hmm
And I don't know why. I guess in this era people look frown upon that. I don't get that because growing up in New York, we had DJ Premier, Pete Rock. You know what I'm saying? Diamond D. You know what I mean? All these producers and things of that nature. I knew heat makers and stuff like that growing up in New York, and there was a sound. And then we listened to the West Coast. We had a conversation before I hit the live button. I was one of the only people playing West Coast music in New York at that time. Excuse me, in my section in Brooklyn, in my neighborhood. I'm not saying I'm super popular like I was Funk Flex or something like that. I'm talking about in my neighborhood because it was the East Coast West Coast thing. And I was like, bro, do you hear that bass? And what would you do with the dog pound when that drum drops? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did you hear that synthesizer in the background? It's not even that much instruments, but it's like boom, boom, boom. I was like, you ain't going to dance to that. Are you bugging? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that beat is hard. You know what I mean?
hmm
I never forget. People used to hate. There was 2 albums in the West Coast I used to run on repeat in my house. Two. Number one was the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. I think to
Ooh.
me that is my favorite. I listen and study that to this day from a mixing standpoint and just from an instrumental standpoint. Like literally, I studied that up and down, up and down. And it was sample heavy, but like doggy style. Those are the 2 albums that I bump religiously. But then again, I always got I'm a bigger fan of Quick and Battle Cat versus any other producer. And then I listen to old Battle Cat and stuff like that. And Quick's production and like his snares would like crack through my headphones. Like didn't understand it. I was like, I was like, how did you make that like hit me right in my ear like that? Like
Yeah.
like puzzling me. And but we always have to appreciate styles and things of that nature because as producers, like I say this, a lot of producers must cook good because we're just mixing ingredients and using our tools. And
hmm
with me, I always like to cook because I'm too bougie. And I'm not paying somebody, money for food that I can make better in my house. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing like producing, like cooking, spices, the protein, the starch, the pots, production, drum machines, the keyboard, the software, the effects plugin. To me, it's the same mindset. We're
Yeah.
chefing up something. And if you're a cook, hey, let me study the French style. Let me study Italian. Let me study Indian style. Production, West Coast, down south, Zap and Roger, Parliament Funkadelic. You know what I'm saying? So on and so on and so forth. You gotta mix to create your own style.
Right. That's right, man. That's a trip. When you put it like that, man, that's a good analogy, man. Cause yeah, it's pretty much that's like you said, the gumbo, man. You start just mixing all of it together and create something new. You know, it might have a little zingy, spicy to it, but
Yeah.
it might be a pleasurable disc. Disc. I said disc. Dish.
Listen, it's early over there, and I didn't sleep all night, so it's kind of early mentally for me over here. Kids had me up all night, so listen, I'm glad I'm not slurring my words. I'm drinking so much water right now to be straight. So listen, I understand that. But yeah, like, what started you off in production and to the point where you just got the bug and you went off and running? The first two questions: what started you off in production, the spark the passion, and what was your first piece of gear that you really got to put in work on that you got first comfortable with?
Ooh, nice. So, man, I had a couple introductions to music throughout my life, but I was ignoring it. My first phone call. My first introduction was I was in a band, you know what I'm saying, a marching band, and I had the trombone, and I'm learning my instrument and everything. I wasn't tripping on music. I just doing it, just be doing it. Then my partner in the band, he came with the synthesizer, Yamaha. I never seen it to this day, no more. But it's like a synthesizer. You had to program all the sounds, but it had a distinguish on it, like 8 tracks. And he let me borrow it over summer. And I
Over the
just started.
summer? Oh,
Yeah, he was wild for that. I mean, I know him, but I didn't know him like that. But he let me borrow for the summer, and I took it home. You couldn't really make beats with it, but you could program sounds and record little rhythms. And then I had Alesis SR16, and
oh
I would
wow.
synchronize them together, and then I would do the drums on the Alesis, and then use the synthesizer. And I would tell my friends they would come over, like, hey, this sounds like something could be on the radio. I'm like 14, 13. They like looking at me because it's just a bunch of noise. And I know it's a bunch of noise, but I'm excited. And they looking at me like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, listen to this one. And I'm just over and over again. I'm like all summer just doing it, right? But after that, I shook it because I still thought I was gonna be a basketball star, do something else, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like science and all type of things, right? And then my cousin, man, they was blowing up. They was from my area. They was West Coast rappers called Killer Tribe, and they was blowing up, and people were like, "Man, your family is dope, man. They hot, man. They doing it." I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I used to go to the studio with them, but I still didn't really care. And I was noticing the things that they were doing, and I was like, "Man, my ear was starting to develop." I'm like, "Hey, this don't really sound right." I said, "I want to do something a little different." And I was getting these theories. My second keyboard I got was a Yamaha PSR 540. It had the floppy disk on it.
Mm-hmm.
It had like 8 tracks on it too. But I was going crazy on this keyboard, man. I got the bug then. Let me go back. Before I bought this keyboard, because I'm still young, I used to go to Circuit City like every day. I used to ride the bus from the south side to the north side from where I'm at and go to this store and make beats every day. Bring my own floppy disk, put it in there,
Yep.
every
Yep.
day, man. And eventually I got a little summer job, bought the keyboard, went home, and I started going bananas. I mean, I would never come outside. I'm making beats all day, every day for like 2, 3 years until one of my friends came with another keyboard and was just blessed me with it. It was a Roland XP50. And it was
Oh.
over from there. I just kept going up. I mean, kept
But
going up, bro.
but see, as you're talking, and every producer that watches this, everybody remembers that first piece of gear that had limited features, but we had
Hmm.
so much damn fun on it. And we were
Hmm.
lost in our own world. Like when you turn it on the keyboard or the drum machine, you're like, oh my God. Because for me, don't laugh. I was a DJ first.
Oh,
And
you
I had
know
a
what? I'm sorry. I
Gemini.
started to cut you off, bro. I started the DJ first, but still, I didn't care. I was just scratching and practicing and going DJ
Mm,
parties, a kid, but I didn't really care about music like that. Like it still didn't hit me. I was more entwined of other people, like how they felt about it.
mm.
And I was like, okay, I'll play this song. But I didn't care. Like I didn't care who the artist was. I didn't care nothing about none of that. Just playing stuff. But yeah, continue on what you were saying. My
No,
bad about that.
no, you're right. No, because we're playing different genres and different things. We're just, again, absorbing different spices, different sonic flavors, different spices into our mindset to create our own flavor. I'm sorry, listen, I'm a big cook. I'm gonna use mad cooking analogies. You're gonna hear it all show. You're gonna hear it all show because I
Mhm.
equivalent cooking to music. But yeah, like my first thing was a Gemini sampler, 24-second sampler between two turntables and a mixer into two tape decks. So I
Nice.
was king pause tape. I was king grab the loop, make a melody out of the other loop, and like take those like 2 by 2 seconds, stretch it out, or make it slow or make it super fast to get down to seconds. I'm talking about being inventive. And when we get our first piece of gear, like you were talking about with the keyboards, the 8 tracks, I wish I had 8 tracks. I had two
Yeah.
cassette decks. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I had two
Yeah.
cassette. I didn't have a Tascam Porter. My homeboy's like, yo, I'll steal one for you. I was like, nah, son, because anytime you steal something, we got to look over our necks every time we go out to a party. Don't steal nothing. And I'm
Yeah.
6'6". Niggas gonna find me. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna see me. And I just got lost. Like my mother got worried. And everybody knows this who was a producer. When you get that first piece of gear, you'll be in your room for hours. People are like, yo, what are you doing? With
Yeah.
your headphones on. What are you doing? Why are you in there so long? You using drugs? Yeah, the musical drugs. I'm in this
Yeah.
piece of gear for a long period of time. And when you talking like that, just brought back all those memories of all those pause tapes. And I'm mad because I can't find my cassettes. Don't you hate when you can't find your initial floppy disk? You don't know
Bro,
what happened to them. I hate that feeling.
I got my floppy disk. I can't find my original cassettes though, but I got my floppy disk. Yeah.
Oh
Man, I
my god.
cannot find, like you said, the tapes. Man, I made some real beautiful music back then. Cause I was surprised because when I did get a chance to hear them before I lost them, hearing what I was doing, I was like, dang, I was pretty advanced because a lot of people over here to start off, it just sounded like pure just noise. But I was doing something off the gate that I was tripping off because I didn't think I was good at all. Like I was like, man, as I was making, I was like, I know these suck, but I want to see what the people say. But like I said, I got older and I went back at a certain time. I was like, dang, yo, that's crazy. I was like, man, that's pretty advanced for where I started at. But yeah, man.
You're bringing me back memories, and I didn't even grow up with you. I'm just thinking about whole pieces of gear as you're talking. But everybody, whoever's just jumping into the stream right now, this is Kyle Leaf Wins, the Make a Better Track Show. I'm here with producer and seasoned MPC and other gear-based producer Quickstrike. And for those who don't know his skills, I'm gonna run it back. His YouTube channel is Quickstrike 209. It's in the link of the stream right now. But let me just put you guys on to his skill level and understand who you're listening to. Damn, that's smooth as hell, man.
Oh yeah.
That's smooth as hell. And again, it's the familiar NPC workflow, so you are swimming through it. Like you just knocking out this what I need, that's what I need, this what I need. Think you can almost hear you thinking right now as you like processing this track.
Yeah.
And now as I see you on this keyboard right now, I'm thinking about you on the Yamaha keys. Like I'm really thinking about it right now.
Hey, what's crazy on the Yamaha, I was mad slow. Mad slow.
But look at you now though. This beat is popping.
Hey, when I started moving fast like this, I had acquired a Korg Triton, right? And
Oh my God, I wish.
actually, the guy who brought me that Roland XP50, his name is he passed away, man. He was one of my
Rest in
close
peace.
friends, good artist, man. He was dope. His name was Rory. But yeah, he brought me this keyboard and he showed me how to work it. He was moving fast like that, like and the West Coast stuff. He was like boom, 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 but he's hitting them buttons and programming stuff quick. And he was like, here, you do it. You gonna be better than me. I'm like, what? I'm like, so he would come back by, check on me, and I'm moving just as quick. And then I done found more better techniques than what he was doing. He was like, oh yeah, see, you surpassed me because I'm a rapper. He's like, I'm not really a producer. He's like, but you're gonna be dope. And I'm like, wow. And so since then, when I got the Cork Triton, that's when you could look at my YouTube. Uh, it goes way, way back to like 2009, and I'm on the Triton going bananas fast too. So, but ever since then, I just been going fast as hell. That's pretty much why I got my name Quickstrike because I make a beat so fast, and people be like, "Damn, you just did that off the fly?" It's like, yeah, it was pretty simple. It's like, well, that was complex, but yeah,
Yo, a matter of fact, I just dig deep into your channel. Yo, you had the Miko. Are you serious? You had the check this out, everybody. He had the Miko. Look.
Downgraded. Used to have the MP. MPC, man, no longer exists. Miko, real quick.
And now the Miko has been a big part of discussion since the Key 37 came out. People have been comparing. My homeboy, Civil Days Music, put up a video about it. What beat? That's the original Beatmaker app.
Oh yeah.
Which is still a fire app. This beat is hard. Are you serious? Please tell me you saved this.
Yeah.
Wow. Your man has a Miko, but he's still banging out tracks on the iPad. Again, we talking about skill. And again, Quickstrike is at it from one track to the other track to the other track. Using what you have to get what you want. You feel what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yo, like, again, I like doing these interviews because at the end of the day, we are craftspeople. Like we mastering our craft, mastering our tools, no matter what they are, the instrument. We didn't see you on MPC Key 37. I went to your oldest set of videos. You got the Miko. Then you on the OG Beatmaker app. Like when I saw the panel and that color, I was like, yep, I remember the the original Beatmaker app. Yeah. I remember that app. That app is still fire. And I don't understand. Again, we think about this. If somebody told you in the 90s or told me in the 90s, hey, there's going to be a piece of glass that can do everything and more than what the MPC can do, we'd be like, what? What?
Yeah, I know, right? I know,
after carrying this heavy MPC, after carrying them cords, after carrying my jazz drive. What they know about jazz drives and scuzzies? You heard?
I know, that's crazy, man. But but that was a blessing to have those because you upgraded from that floppy tremendously.
Oh yeah, tremendously. But I have some old, like, what would a disc called? The zip disc. I have some of them in my closet. The thick gray zip disc.
Oh yeah. But
I think when you move the metal coil over, I think there might be some rust in it. I'm like,
Ooh, weird.
Yeah, I still got my well, because I don't use my ASR that much, but I still got my ASR discs. You feel me? If you know, if y'all know, for those who are not initiated back in the days, this is what the Grays do. These are floppy disks. You have your sound, your operational software, all your instruments in the disc. And I used to have a duffel bag with these with me. And I never left them alone because this was gold. Never leave these alone because in New York, somebody would have stole your whole joint. They would have stole it. They'd have stole it.
That's the original save icon because
it's the OG save icon. The save as. Yeah, save as.
You guys don't understand for the younger people who's tuned in and watching this, those floppy disks, they saved little amounts and it took forever.
Mm-hmm.
5 millibytes or something like that, or 5.5 millibytes.
It's mad old. So you started your YouTube channel 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And because in my full-time day, I'm a social media manager for people and things of that nature, and I've always been fascinated with the production side. What made you start your YouTube channel? Mind you, 14 years ago. So everybody, give it up. That's YouTube, OG YouTube. That's before all this nonsense YouTube. What made you say, yo, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel and show my skills?
Man, somebody brought me a little camera, but still it was trash. And I don't even know how I found out about YouTube. It was this YouTube something, and I was making beats, and I said, let me put this on YouTube. I don't even know. I just said I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I didn't realize how, it's the internet. I didn't realize that it was going around the world. Then all my following started coming from like Europe and stuff and different languages. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I just kept posting after that. It was fun. I mean, interacting with people from around the world.
And see, that's the power of the internet. I tell a lot of producers I do consultations for and things of that nature all the time. They're like, yeah, the internet, social media. I'm like, bro, people from Johannesburg, people from London, people from Japan. It's content that's put somewhere. So while you're asleep, somebody's scrolling through a video. Mm-hmm. If they type in MPC key, if they type in MPC, if they type in type beat, whatever they type in, the SEO will be SEO, and the search engine optimization will be certain. You never know who's watching your stuff. Like even me interviewing producers and stuff like that. And this will be on my YouTube channel, and I'll most definitely link you. You just never know. And the reason that I started YouTube, then started taking it seriously is because I'm like, yo, I've always been a person that bridges the gap. I was never the street dude. I was always a DJ producer. And I knew one thing cured people from getting shot. It was parties and sexy women at my parties. That was that. Listen, listen. Sex and food are the big bridge makers. Those make bridges. You know what I'm saying? Like DJing for me and production brings people together. Who would have thought me on the East Coast being on the phone with somebody from the West Coast talking about game, and we're having familiar occurrences because the spirit of music don't die just because somebody's on another coast of the world. Or, you know what I'm saying? We bond. It's the first time we met. And it's weird me talking to you right now because I'm like, damn, I've been looking at the Black Alliance audio mods of the MPCX videos, then this gear and things of that nature, and you just on the keyboard bringing me back memories of watching OGJ Quick videos. That's literally the vibe and energy I have when I saw your videos. And then you killing an MPC Key 37. You're right. It did bring a new invigoration because when you go down your YouTube channel and when you had, I don't know what keyboard is that, the grayish bluish keyboard, when you first had the X, when the X first came out, before you did the mod, you had the keyboard and the X, you were knocking it out. But now that you have the keys and the pads together, what is that experience like to have the keys and the pads together and then working in that flow? How did it enhance your production flow?
Man, as this new technology, it really helped with find like this, because I always been a producer to use sounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a keyboard. Like whenever somebody just gave me like a 3,000 or 2,000 something, it just comes out hip hop sample based. But when I get my instruments and stuff, it becomes more musical. And then, but with the Key 37 or the 61, it just allows me to access those sounds way faster with the sequencing and sampling of like Akai, Akai style. You know what I'm saying? Because I've used like I use that ASR, man. I use the Sonics, and you know what I'm saying. I've used different things, but I always went back to the MPC because I'm a faster guy. Like I ain't trying to knock the ASR. You can do some incredible stuff, but you got to be a little bit patient. You know what I'm saying?
Especially with the sequencer. Can we get an amen for patience with the sequencer? If you know, you know.
Yeah, man. I move a little too quick. That thing start glitching. So
Yeah. Or the infamous floppy sound.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, what's going on? Why is my OS not loading?
hmm Yeah, it's something I did with the 2000 as well. Not the XL, but the two. Yeah, I got the 2000. I got those sequences to glitch a little bit because I'll move so fast, but it kind of helped with the timing, like to make this certain rhythm. But sometimes it would be too bad for me. But what I was trying to say though, man, is that with the MPC Key 37 and it's the workflow it just keeps me in tune with everything now. Like because everything's right there. It's like quick, fast access, and it's like boom. I'm there. I need the sounds. The button's right there. Boop, sounds. See, the MPCX doesn't have a sounds button, so
Mm-hmm.
I
You
would have to go
remember.
search and But yeah, man, that's why the MPC 37 is nice, bro. Just
Hold that thought. Can you please share to the maybe not understanding public, and it might be older people or younger people that don't understand that the luxury of having 2 gigs of RAM and an SD card in comparison to getting sounds off of floppies and loading them. Can you just please paint that picture as to what? Listen, I ain't tripping off of 2 gigs of RAM. Y'all tripping. We was on
yeah,
megabytes.
yeah,
You got 2
yeah,
gigs of RAM. Y'all don't know what resampling is and
yeah.
removing the plugin. But just break it down, the difference.
Yo, yeah. I mean, that's why you don't see me on old hardware right now because I love the old hardware sound and all of that. Like the speed, I can manage that. But what stops me, you guys, is the storage and 16-bit. Like if you wanted to use bigger size files, man, your storage you're gonna have to get them floppy disks or some type of conversion. And man, you run out of memory so fast. This 2 gigabytes now, I don't run out of memory, and I use a lot of sounds. I just go bank after bank, and it doesn't max out. So I don't know with the people nowadays worried about memory size and all that, like all these extra gigs, I think is overkill. I mean, unless you're doing orchestra music and you need like complete ensemble, you know what I'm saying? It's overkill, man, especially for drums. So yeah,
Yeah, especially for drums. And for those who don't know, just a tip, I know people have seen it on the internet, to preserve the RAM in 2 gigs of RAM in your MPC Live or the OGX or the new MPC Key 37. If you're using something like Hype, which takes up a lot of RAM, or Fabric Excel, which takes out a lot of RAM, make your melody, resample, export it, put it on an audio track, and just cancel the plugin next.
yep,
Or save the MIDI before you cancel the plug. Save the MIDI and then the audio. So you're dealing mostly in audio, not with plugins. That'll consolidate all the time. And again, that's workflow here. Because yeah, people, I'm not gonna ever get in that debate with sounds. EA Ski won that debate. You know what I'm saying? He won it. It's true. You get a fatter sound, but he's even having fun with the MPC Key 37 because
exactly,
can I get my idea out of my head?
exactly.
Great. Can it get out of my head? And EA Ski got that Trident board. I'm like, oh my God, that Trident board is crazy. He can pump out the most warm analog sounds, and other people can do it too. SSL Fusion, great option to utilize it. The SSL Plus interface, great option. What is the new UAD Volt interfaces? Great analog options. Like there are options, but when it comes to workflow and getting it out of your head and getting that idea down, the MPC Key 37. Listen, I don't have a Key 37. I'm looking forward to have a key. I just had a son, and for the parents, and I've said this in other videos, if you are a new parent of a new child, your money is to your kids. Can I get an amen? Like right now, it is what it is. And I said in my Lifted Noise interview, when I had my son, I sold my MPC Key 61. When I tell you it's heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking.
Oh
And,
no,
I was like, yo, let me get something in the meantime. So I got the MPC Studio, and I'm like, I don't like mouse work. I
oh
don't like
yeah,
mouse
yeah.
work. I don't like mouse work.
So
But
you got the studio, the one that it's got the small LCD screen on it, or the
yeah,
8K? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but you know what I do, because I go through mental tantrums. Because listen, I had the X, the OG Black X when it first came out, and the Key when it first came out. But then I was like, new son. My wife had like a really, and I said this in my last sentence. My wife, we thought she was going to die in childbirth due to her age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And stuff like that. So it was like priorities. Like, let me sell what I need to sell. Let me do what I need to do. Let me get this cracking. But it has taught me a lesson. No matter what gear you have, the funk is still in you. And I have to always, I get frustrated, and I'm not gonna hold you. I have to always revert my mind to remember the megabytes, remember the OS disk,
yeah.
remember that. Okay, shut up. Yes, you don't have the tactile knobs of the key. Yes, touchscreen days are gone, but remember what it was like with floppy disk? Shut your face. Absorb this. You have the funk within you. The idea is going to come out as the same software that's in the standalones. Knock it off. Let's keep it moving. Get to work. Stop complaining. You started on vinyl and cassette decks. Shut your mouth. I have to literally tell this to myself, because when you're used to working on tactile gear, and when I first got the MPC Key 61, like you said, it forces you to be more musical. The MPC Key 37, it forces you because the pads aren't the forefront.
Right.
And it sounds like I'm doing a commercial for Kai. Listen,
I
Kai,
know, right?
if you're loving a small content creator out there and you want to send me the MPC Key 37, that'll be lovely. You understand what I'm saying? But it's true. When you don't have something, you miss it more. And I think anybody who's had to sell gear, this is my message to them. Learn the lesson of the pain and regret of not using what you had to the fullest while you had it. You feel what I'm saying? I repeat. And then discipline your mind to squeeze out the hits and put your mind frame in my first piece of gear mind frame to use what you have. Because one thing I'm super fast on, and I've been using it for like 12 years, is Ableton. Because Ableton reminds me of an old Tascam Porter.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah.
and I literally don't even need a MIDI controller with Ableton. I can come over your house with my laptop and Ableton, and I'll be fine, because I treat Ableton like an MPC. And what's the MPC workflow? Okay, let me get a sample. Let me chop a sample. Let me make a melody. Let me put my drums on. Let me arrange the track. Boom, 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 go. No matter what DAW you use, FL Studio, Logic, if you have the workflow in your mind to say, let me get the melody down. Great, let me get the bass line down. Let me sample chop something. Let me put my drum patterns in. Let me arrange the track. Are we ready? Great, go. And that's the workflow. So when it comes to MPC Key 37, especially the videos that I played earlier of your programming, that's where it's like you can almost hear you thinking. And by the way, big shout out on those gold knobs that you have on the MPC
Oh,
Key
yeah.
37. Those things
Yes,
that looks
sir.
official. But see how you're breezing through it because you click the screen, instrument, dun, 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 sample flip, dun, 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 dun. Great, great, got the sequence. Connect the sequences. So it's the workflow. No matter what you use, is the workflow, and that's how I kick myself in my own ass.
Hey,
Yes,
but
you have this.
let me stop you real quick because remember they was having that debate about the sound and workflow and all that, right?
Mm-hmm,
I'm gonna say this for my younger people and for anybody who's experienced whatever. When it comes to music, this is my philosophy, and it goes back to kind of what we're talking about here. And this is I feel very important when it comes to sound versus workflow.
mm-hmm,
Workflow trumps sound all the time because if you put yourself back in ancient times, Africa, all you had is your feet, some water, and some drums. Maybe ain't
mm-hmm,
nobody worried about no sound. We worried about creating some. We that something's gonna touch your soul.
mm-hmm,
We get, you know what I'm saying? So, in general, when people are in the world listening to our music, they kind of really don't care about the sound. I mean, the sound is like the icing on the cake, but
mm-hmm.
they're really tripping on like what you created. How often can you keep creating this stuff, man? Can you keep this going? Like just like how you highlighted throughout my little journey on my YouTube. Like, man, look at you're on this machine working it. You're on this machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes back to that. Like what I did is I've developed and keyed in my drive and how I know to get it. It wasn't the sound because I told you, like when I was in my DJ days, I didn't care about no sound, man. I'm just playing songs that make people feel good, and that's all I. In the beginning, that's all I really understood about music. Like, oh man, they like the in the club or, whatever song it is. Like, man, that's touching. I wasn't tripping on like the sonics until I got to advanced level. So now I'm like realizing other songs. I'm like, dang, how did they make the kick thump like that? Like it's loud and powerful, but then it's compressed at the same time. And that's when I started investigating. But that was later on, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say for younger cats or people who's in this, really focus on honing in your style, your finding what makes you creative and keeps you going because the Sonic game, you know what I'm saying? That level will have you just spending money and eventually your creativity drops and you're
Mm-hmm.
not chasing musical anymore. You're just chasing technical and then eventually what I would say you become just an engineer and now you mix
Yeah,
somebody else's music. So
and that is another science. There's a
yeah,
there's a production and engineering is another science. And like
right.
we had a conversation before I went live, and I told him like the thing that got me into DJ Quick and Dre was how clear the separation of the sounds were. Because in New York, we like gritty. The drums like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. But like we are very aggressive. But the cleanliness of like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatchamacallit? Um One More Day, Nate Dogg, the cleanliness of even Let's Get Down, DJ Quick, Raphael Sadiq, like this, like how did you get that guitar to sound like it's in my living room when I'm playing it?
Yeah.
How did that snare crack? How did that burn? Like why does it sound like when I put my headphones on, like it's in my living room? Like I got fascinated with the sound, and when that whole debate came up and EA Ski brought it to light, I think he just brought up the frustration of like, dag, a lot of us wanted was like, yo, if y'all gonna bring an X for the people that had an X, you have the gear, like make an MPC 3000 sonically. And the gear's out there because so many other companies have sonic coloring gear. Like,
Right.
not to be all nerdy right now, but like the Sonic Wear line. They have the Lo-Fi 12 or the Lo-Fi 24 that has a great sonic sound. Like I said, the Volt has converters in it. The Volt interface for like $200-$300 has the converters in it. The Solid State Logic Plus interface has the converters in the color. So that there are different companies that color the sound. And he brought it to the light when it came to the importance of sound because a lot of people were disappointed because we thought that if all these companies were coming up with small interface for $300, it'd be nothing for a Kai. But you're right. It's about workflow and the craft and then the sound. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, when as the debate roared on, I was like, okay, ESK is keeping it real, but there's a lot of other producers like, yo, listen, at the end of the day, there's pre-production and there's post-production.
There you go.
I'm gonna just make the track here, get the idea out of my forehead, Put it down. And I can just go to the studio that got a series of 500 set of racks modules, and let me just run my stuff through there. Rent studio time, I'm just heat up and warm up everything. But but that's a progressive thought and stuff like that. But I am glad that Eski brought it to light. But he's loving the key right now.
But
And
look, remember you asked me about my top favorite 3 tracks. It comes back to that team. See, now with all that being said, right? I got the top 3 favorite tracks, and I did it with other people. We dropped it off to another person, which is the engineer. We dropped it off to another person, which is the mastering engineer. And with all of that, like this is what you're hearing with DJ Quick. This is what you're hearing with these other guys in the past. This is that team collaborative effort. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's specializing in what they do, and it comes together to sound something magnificent. Versus today, we're doing it all pretty much ourselves. And then we're wondering why we have shortcomings, because where your shortcomings are at, I'll be able to enhance it with sonics. You know what I'm saying? You brought me this track, I'm loving it. Like, oh, this is beautiful. And you're in your mind, you're like, man, it's not fat enough. The drum not whacking hard enough. And then I'm like, I got you. I know exactly what you need. I'm gonna put a little iron on here. I'm gonna put a little grit by running through this EQ and enhancing it with that. And then we'll give it a little more air by doing this. And that's how you make a super track. You know what I'm saying? Like super production. But now, like I said, we're all individualized, and we're doing this on the solo, and we're trying to emulate what team effort did in the past.
Oh,
So,
great point. That's a
you know what I'm
bar. Say that again. We're all moving solo and individual efforts and basing a workflow, I added that word, off of original team-based effort.
Exactly.
And I had I don't want to bring this up, this conversation. I was talking to Civil Days Music. He has a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? He talked about the Miko and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, a lot of the online producers in particular groups, right? There's a lot of complaining, especially NPC groups. There's like this toxicity that doesn't need to be there. And I told him, I said, man, if a lot of these producers just put themselves in situations when they're in studio sessions with other producers, it'll enhance their workflow. Like you said, the power of collaboration is iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Like me, when I grew up DJing, I always got around DJs that were litter than me, young, old, because it was like, okay, let me chill with the scratch DJs. Oh, let me chill with the blenders. Let me chill with the dancehall, Jamaican DJs. Let me chill with the what we called them back in the days, the white boys who did house. Let me learn different styles to enhance my style. And that kills the online debate, because I tell everybody, if you're in a studio session and it's 10 young artists, and I don't know if they understand this, I used to be in studio sessions on a regular basis in New York City, and there's weed in the air, and that impatience hits, and you sit in front of your laptop, if you cannot crank out something, even if it's 4 bars, like a 4-bar measure, and be like, how do you like this? How do you like this? Because producers, we are tailors. We're tailors for artists. So I'm gonna call my boy who plays keys. I always had a homeboy on deck, because I used to work with corporate talent agencies. My homeboy plays keys. My homeboy harmonizes. My homeboy plays guitar. And we're in a studio session. It's like 10 gang members and smoking weed and they're impatient, looking at my high yellow ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to jamming. Let's play. Oh, how do you like this loop we just made? How do you like this loop? How do you like this? How do you like this just made? How do you like this? Oh, we want to vibe like this. We are tailoring the sonics for somebody's story or somebody's vibe. And that pressure hits. That separates people that are online debating from people who actually want to do this. And that's why I feel it's important. And I listen, I just started wanting to interview producers that I like looking at YouTube channels, because they have talent. I always want to showcase and point the finger. I don't have 1 million followers yet. I'm not trying to be an influencer at all. I'm just trying to be a person that matches passion. And I was always taught, if you do what you're passionate about, your path is going to find you, bro. And that's why I'm really thankful that you're on the line with me right now, because you're jamming it out. And for anybody that doesn't know, and again, I'm going to always bring it up. I'm going to always point to the skill. Let me show you just another piece of his skill level right now. And this is just light.
Like that with the quickness.
You just jamming.
Yeah. I hear that swing. Wow.
You see everybody how he's just getting into the vibe and the swing of things, and that's what I like. I'm really glad Akai brought out the keys because with drums, it's patterns. It's how we chop a sample pattern. But when it comes to just using instruments, the key is great because you see that groove, everybody just like man, he's feeling it. And that's why I think the key 37, excuse me, the size of it, because I had the 61 and I used to handle the whole thing. And like my daughter would try to bang all the time. But to have a key 37, I could be like, up, unplug, let me go. Like you can get your groove with the keys on top of a track. So if you want to sample, cool, you can sample. But if you're on the keys, you can use the instruments. And again, I just wish that the old school MPC 2000s back in the 90s had this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the instruments built in. Could you imagine, like, the instruments built in?
Yes, sir.
Like, they came with a couple of discs with a couple of sounds.
Hey, I'll be honest. I would have started on the ASR 10 sooner, right? But when I got to it, because already, the MPCs didn't have no sounds, but it was like a workstation keyboard. I got to it, and then you got the floppy disk, and it got a few sounds, but it was just like, dang, where am I gonna get these sounds for this keyboard, right? Like it pushed me away from the ASR initially. I was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, give me something else like a Juno or some Korg. It got some sounds like or Yamaha, like because like I can't do nothing without these sounds. Like, well, I got to program everything. So me being young, I didn't realize how much of a gem I had when I first got to it. Because somebody blessed me with ASR tune. I was like, here, man, do something because you're dope. You can do something. I was like, and I tried, and I was like, ain't nothing in this machine, man. No sounds. It's done.
And that's back in the days where you just literally had to old school key group it. Old school save it on disc. And that takes a while. Like, again, I think it's a benefit growing up in the 90s and stuff like that because we have a discipline. And again, I did a show on my Making Better Track show called Old Heads and Young. No, this isn't an ageism thing. This is just I learned so much from the FL producers on workflow and speed when it comes to piano rolls.
Yeah.
But in our era, creating actual instruments out of sound. And now the fact that we really don't have to do it. Like, again, I never liked instruments up until they put it in an MPC. Because I'm like, okay, this feels like some of the sound, the instruments out of Logic. I can work with this. And the basis of any sound is what? Guitar, keyboards, variations of synthesizers, a Moogish type bass, and things of that nature, and then a simple effects palette. Remember the EFX board on the 2000 that you would have to put on the top? Just to have an effects board, and the fact that the MPC Key 37 has effects built in. Like, again, that's my mindset. It's like, bro, yeah, I got an MPC studio now, and I miss the keys, but the plugins that came with it, I got to force myself to say, hey, you're 13 right now in the 90s. Act like you 13. Like I'm saying, like, understand and be like, kind of like happy of what comes with it and use it, because if you're faithful of a little, you're going to get blessed with much. Look at you. People saw your passion and the universe. Man, God bless you with people that saw your gift and was like, here, take this $2,000 keyboard. Here, take this, because they see something within you. And that's, again, you followed your path and you attracted what you want. And I don't understand, people don't understand the simplicity. Everybody stop debating on the internet, follow your path, and what you want, it'll come to you. If you build it, they will come.
That goes for anything you got. I mean, anything. I mean, you put your mind to it. You know, they say you was a kid, put your mind to it. They were pretty much saying follow your purpose, and you'll know your purpose because you'll be real passionate about it, and you'll continue to do this and want to do it and just be motivated to do it. Now, no money asks, like you'll do it for free, and they'll be like, hey, would you do this? Like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that 20 times today. I'm good. And like, for $1, you be like, man, I'll do it for free. I don't even need the money. That's when you know you're passionate and you're on your purpose for something, because that's how much you just, your soul, everything is drawn to it. I mean, it could be anything. Huh? I mean, bad and good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like I have this show. I had this show before my son was born about 8 months ago, called the Morning Motivation Show, and we talked about it because we saw a clip of Steve Harvey said there's a difference between your passion and your gift. And as producers, we can be multi-passionate about the sound. And some producers got that duality, was like, oh, the sound. And then I got friends who are in bands, they just got a guitar lust. They just like buying guitars and pedals, guitars and pedals. And then I got friends who love to be studio rats. Like everybody that's a producer got a friend that's like, listen, I don't want to deal with all that outside. Just let me live in this studio forever. Like, let me just live in this studio forever. Whatever your passion is, like he said, is something that you would do for free. And if you were dead tired, like right now, I'm dead tired. I didn't sleep all last night, but I love speaking to talented people and connected to people that have a passion and purpose. And I know that the conversation is going to spark somebody who's going to watch this. Like right now, somebody might not be watching a live stream, but when I post this on YouTube and post the clips, you never know who you're going to inspire by your story. And that's why it's super important. But let me get to you. You've been creating all these fire tracks on the Key 37. You've always had fire tracks. What projects do you have lined up, or are you in the project mindset, or are you in a I'm going sync licensing, or I'm just doing tracks, or I'm selling beats? Like, what is your energy moving towards in this season right now with all the tracks that you're creating and the fun that you're having?
I'm gonna say this, man. For the last since 2016 until now, I wasn't planning on putting anything out. But I've been working with these people, different groups and stuff, man, and they've been encouraging me and trying to motivate me to release some stuff, man. And it's like I don't feel inspired to release because one, business wise, the situation, the atmosphere, what's going on, it's not really cool. But I have found a new model, a new way that I need to go ahead, which is an old school way, which is physical, and go ahead do that. But the thing, these guys I've been working with, they've been putting out stuff, and it's like here goes another analogy, man, or another saying is like, you go to the barbershop, eventually you get your hair cut. So I've been hanging out with these people who's been releasing and just putting in work, man. And they've been Grammy nominated, and they're like, man, dude, you got it, bro, and it's time, man. You stop playing, go ahead and get to the next level. So I'm like, yeah, all right, it's time.
I believe so, brother. And again, I'm not trying to bring the conversation down. I went to 2 funerals in one day last week.
Mm,
And death inspires me because it reminds you, like, knock knock, nigga, you ain't gonna be here forever. What skill do you want to use? What are you gonna leave to your kids? What are people gonna remember you by? So death is inspiring to me. So I went there and I came from there. I was like, okay, I got a refresher. Stop playing with your time. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
Bro, the stuff that I've just seen on YouTube for like all this time, I'm just like, bro, you're right about the model. In fact, and I want to get into my geek, I got to stop holding myself back. I'm a social media strategist and I like business models. I'm sorry. And I graduated from the HBCU and we know the hustle. And I grew up on doing promo for labels as a kid, posting up posters, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Hand in hand, and I sold pharmaceuticals as well. At the end of the day, I think that we're in a wild, wild west of business models when it comes to producers and getting paid over it. But the real direct thing is direct to fan, direct to sell. Curtis King got videos talking about direct to sell, but the only way that you can direct to sell to a fan base is that you have to build your community. And I believe that streaming has a purpose as a teaser. Let me give you these little singles, but we're going to direct to sell you for the meat. Yeah, we're going to give you a little, like you go in the mall. I don't know how it is over there, but in the mall, in New York, we got like the chicken teriyaki spots, and it'd be the lady walking around with the teriyaki and the toothpicks, and then she'd be like, "You want to try it?" And I'm like, "Oh, this tastes good." And my broke ass, and I was a kid, I used to just grab all them things up, but I would always go back there and give them money. So I believe that the streaming model is the tease model. Don't expect to get bread from it. Don't expect to get whatever from it. And I heard that Spotify right now are trying to put links to convert for artists, as a means to entice more artists to put their entire projects up there. I don't think for business model, I don't think no producer should put their entire product up there unless it's a resume note. You should, let me give you this teaser so you can go right to my website or right to my app. Wix.com, I believe, has an app feature where you can have your own app. But again, I don't want to get too technical. And you can bring them in. But the name of the game for any producer and any artist, and I tell people all the time, I don't know everything. But one thing I know, email lists have never failed me. Email lists have never failed me. Like people always say, oh my God, how you talking about producing all this stuff when you're in your 40s? I'm like, bro, money ain't got ageism attached to it. Right. It's just the bag. And then if we on a planet with billions of people, Somebody gonna like the way I talk. Somebody gonna like the way you talk. Somebody gonna like my beats. Somebody gonna like your beats. So why aren't people gathering their community to create their own individual constituencies via email? Yeah, we're gonna give you a little teaser. And mind you, I'm spitting mad game for people that's watching this right now. But when it comes to the current business model, why are you staying stuck in the same models? For any producer watching this, and again, if anybody watching this wants a social media strategy with me, hit my link in bio. You know, shameless plug, but it ain't shameless. It's just real. Stop focusing on other people's models. And like we said about combining spices, combine business models to suit you to get your direct to fan experience. Nipsey laid the blueprint with Proud to Pay. Now we have La Russell doing this thing with his funnel system. Utilize different business model funnel systems with the internet. The internet is free. Do you understand what it's like?
Exactly.
I used to do promo for record labels. They would put us in a van with a whole bunch of the big things that we would staple on the poles and a whole bunch of stickers. And we would have to go to every hood, every barbershop, every beauty salon.
Okay.
We
I
was,
was like,
we was posting
these
up
guys
everything.
everywhere.
In train stations. I'm talking about 2 a.m. to like 7 a.m. till the cops try to get at us. But now we have the internet. Now we have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have YouTube. We have all these apps. Stop being lazy. Put out the product, get your constituency, grab and capture your email address of your fan, and then have a direct to fan model. I'm gonna tease y'all with the stream. Yeah, here's a little streaming thing, but let me direct you here. Because like Matt, and I'll be the last thing I say. If you look back in the days when Kendrick first came out, when J. Cole first came out, and when Mac Miller first came out, they posted on social media, "Hey, I'm at 100 fans. Oh man, thank you. I got another fan." If you start with 100 people, I don't know if anybody saw this in their life. I used to do a lot of public speaking, as you can obviously tell by the radio voice. And I know what the difference is being in a room full of speaking to 100 people to speaking to 2,000 people at a historically black college. 100 people person room is huge. Have 100 people in a quarter pay you $100? I mean, think about it. In most 9-to-5 jobs, the average salary right now was $50,000. So then you got to break it down mathematically. I'm a producer. I have beats. What are the products I can sell with that? Beat tapes, instrumental albums, collab products with artists. Yeah, give the streaming what is onto streaming, but funnel that fan base and get that core, 1,000 fans, to pay you $100 a year. It's $100,000. Pay your taxes, get your model, but combine the models. I'm sorry I got on my rant, but it's like, being 47 and hustling and now seeing the new digital era of hustling, producers and artists don't have to focus on one model. And let me get deep. It's like back in the days when your homeboy was selling work on the block and you had work as well. You were inventive. And when I say work, I mean, groceries for those. I'm not saying that on YouTube. We're not doing that.
Girl Scout cookies, man.
Girl Scout cookies. And I remember my homeboy had the block. I was never the thug dude. I was the DJ that had the ladies because I knew how to talk and they came to my parties. So I said, okay, I'm not a thug. But guess what? I got work to sell. You know what I used to do? House parties. I would sell the work at the house parties. I didn't have to, again, same hood.
Yeah.
Somebody's outside business model. The familiar business model. I created a different funnel model. It's about funnels. And I don't understand why people are not capitalizing on this free internet, free exposure, free opportunities to bring in people that mess with you. Everybody will mess with somebody. Listen, you don't believe that there's a fan base for you of 1,000 people? Go on eBay one day. Type in snowballs. Type in lunch boxes.
Acorns.
Type in leggings. And matter of fact, don't even do that. Go to any sneakerhead community. Who would have thought 15 years ago there was a die-hard sneakerhead with lines out the door? In the internet, you create your community, but if you don't put in the work to put out your skill set, like you put out your skill set and the universe gave you free gear because you put it out.
Yeah.
We don't have to, again, I'm sorry. I'm a social media strategist. I'm going on one right now. I didn't plan for this, but we have the opportunity to create our own model because the model is this: post, get attention, show your skill, give a little teaser, collect the email address, boom, sell a product, direct to fan. You got a good number of people within a particular region, sell out a small venue. And if you don't believe me, if you're a producer, why the hell the Roland SP404 community is killing it with their private shows of just playing beats? There is, in this new generation of production, there is no excuses right now. Everybody needs to go 100% on showing their skill. Oh, but what if they steal a beat? What if they do this? Yes, people will hate. But did you hear Content ID before? Did you hear, Song Trust, copywriting your stuff, Sound Exchange? But if you're not, like him and I said, if you aren't willing to put in the work in your craft and in your business, then you might as well just get got on. It's like hustling in the street. Yeah. If everybody knows who your plug is, they're gonna go to their plug and they're gonna sell the same work. If you can't sell on the block, you gotta be a hustler, male or female. So right now. There's no excuse with this free internet. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. It's difficult. Oh man, I'm more artistic. I don't want to learn business. Then if you don't want to learn the business, then you will fall prey to somebody that's gonna get you out your bag. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell my wife all the time, this current economy is not a one-income economy. I don't care what nobody is. If you're watching this and you're a producer and you're saying, I got a bunch of heat, my friends like it, create your community and build your email list. Stop. And then as I say that, listen to the excuses, and not even excuses, I'm not going to get down on people. Listen to the doubts that you're attacking yourself with. And just say this, F it and try. Because at the end of the day, we all going to die. But if you ain't going to give it your biggest shot, your gift is not for you. That's the thing. Our beats are not for us. It's made for other people to jam. And as a DJ, I know what it feels like. But that's one of the reasons I like DJing. I think my beat's hot. My friends think my beat's hot. But I'm a pessimistic ass New Yorker. I'm gonna play the beat at the party.
Yeah.
The booty's gonna tell me if it's fire. The white folk I'm playing it for, the corporate event, gonna tell me if this is fire. I don't believe my own press.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm encouraging every producer. We are in the wild, wild west. Stop complaining about Spotify. Stop complaining about the business model. Stop giving me your doubts and start giving yourself your solutions. But yeah, you got me going, Quickstrike. I got you.
I see, man. You preaching over there, man. Amen. Amen. Hey, you telling the truth. I mean, the harsh reality is just creating is just step one. But the other part, like he just talking about the hard work of getting out of your creative mind and putting in the work, that's another level. I mean, that's something I'm working on myself right now. You know what I'm saying? The internet, it's free and it's like you said, man, and it's just how much work you putting in. So,
and you gotta want it bad.
Yeah.
Like I tell my 9-year-old daughter all the time, it's like, Daddy, I don't want to do it. You can, but understand, there's work. My daughter got an attitude. Oh, my daughter, I'm giving this example for every producer. Let me give you this quick. You learn so much from children. And I'm going to give you a kill internal procrastination solution that I learned from my daughter last week. Actually, no, beginning of this week. No, last week. Last month, I want to be part of the acting. She's a natural actor. She's really good. Pandemic, she got lit. Then she got invited to be part of an acting troupe. Then the work began. Oh, I'm so tired. I got to do these dance numbers and these things. You said you wanted it though, right?
Right.
And when it comes to me, I'm a point finger myself. Oh, you want to be a producer? Or matter of fact, you want to be a person that's going to interview people? You want to be a person that's going to do that? Shut your mouth. You're tired? I don't care. How bad you want it? How bad?
Yeah.
You say you want this, but you don't want to feel that pain. Like listen, don't laugh, but I always had this fat cousin. Sorry, let me be culturally appropriate. I always had this obese cousin, right? And he would always try to give me workout tips. All right.
Hey, obese sounds worse than the fat.
And he always try to give people workout tips in the hood. I was like, brother, you stuff your face with donuts and ain't do no sit-ups. You ain't gonna tell me about how to do no diamond push-ups. You're being a hypocrite at this point. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Right. And a lot of times we as producers are hypocrites to ourselves. We lie to ourselves about what we want, but we're not willing to put in the work for what we need and what we want to get out of this.
Exactly.
I'll repeat. A lot of us, I'm pointing at myself first. Oh, I want to do this. I want to make beats. I want to do this. I want to do that. But what's my 24 hours looking like? How many excuses am I believing? Oh, but my camera ain't lit. I say this to myself all the time. You got a background of a house you wouldn't even live in. Who cares? Put it out next. Put it out next. Put it out next with our beats. Make the track. Oh, but the Sonics. Put it out next. Put it out next. But how bad do we want it? Pointing at me first. How bad do we want it? You got me on. You got me on one, man. I didn't even think I was gonna go here like this. You
Hey,
got me
but
for.
what's crazy about this whole conversation is everything's come back in full circle. It's like a revolving door. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's like when I was talking about the team, the band, and everything, right? And you mentioned this, like if you're sitting in a group of people and you can't sit there and be like, man, I need to work on this one. They're gonna be like, hey, man, just
Mhm.
put that part out. Let's get that done so we get this song going. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like with a team or a bunch of other people, they'll tell you that. They might not to you. You might be thinking they're just being yes man, but they'd be like, hey man, now that's good. Just finish that and let's release it because we leave it to ourselves. We be our own biggest critic, and we'll sit on it like what
Yup.
I'm doing. I'm making track at the track,
And
and
your
I'm
YouTube
holding
track,
them. I'm holding the track.
but your
Yeah.
YouTube tracks sound like new R&B singles. Your YouTube tracks sound like sync license opportunities. Your YouTube tracks sounds like fire lead singles. And again, no brown nose, no ass kiss. It just is what it is. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot great melody, great drums, great bass line. That's the simplicity. A lot of times we overcomplicate it. We're like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, my beat, oh, but the bass ain't, but the drums ain't, but no, it's fire the way it is.
Mm.
And I encourage you, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, God works in mysterious ways. I just plan to show people, yo, quick strike, quick strike, quick strike. I ain't got no million files, but hey, let me do what I can. People got to know fire when they see it, when they hear it. Because why? People complain about, oh, there's no new hip hop. There is. Quick strike, quick strike, quick strike. Lift the Noise, who I interviewed. Like,
Yeah.
people got to understand there's
Yeah.
funk and there's flavor everywhere. I don't care if you
Sir.
white, black, gay, straight. If you got the funk in you and you can play an instrument, or not even if you can, if you lit with sample chopping, the funk got to get out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. That sound, that tone, that creative monster within is gonna figure out a way. I mean, like you said, you don't have to play an instrument. Somebody could be tapping electrical wires and make it
Mm-hmm.
funky, make you touch your soul just with electric zaps. Like zzz, zzz, zzz. You like, damn. Hey, you know what's the trip? This is some future music stuff I'm about to talk about, and that's one thing when my sound and me and my artistry has always been in the future. But what I'm about to discuss here is going to be some advanced level, and it's called uh,
Hold on. I'm a businessman first. Before you put stuff out into the universe, do you have it written, copyrighted, and protected?
oh
Don't
no,
say it if you don't.
this is nothing to do with that. This is talking about 31 tones. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Because I'm a businessman first. Like, no. We know you talented, but don't share sauce that ain't protected by you, the boss. You feel
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, but this ain't nothing like that. This is about just the notes of sound and the future of what's going on. Like we've been stuck in traditional keys of like 12 tones, 12 steps, the tunings and stuff like that. But as going on from here on with theory, it's going to be very necessary to learn theory because we have
For
AI and
sure.
all of that stuff. But what's going to happen here in the future is we're gonna have different tunings and these are called micro tunings. And these micro tunings, you got to have your ear really trained, or you're gonna have to really know the theory to keep up with what's going on here. And this is why I say this is some advanced stuff because we used to having our scales tuned at 44, 440 or whatever, or 40,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you decide to tune it to. But now in the future, man, they're gonna micro tune each note to make new scales, new stuff. And that's why I said
Wow.
31 notes. And it's called I can't think of the name, but it's pretty much micro tuning to make new textures of sound. It sounds the same, but these micro tunings is gonna make new groove, new like textures of sounds.
Where'd you
It's
hear
gonna be
about
true.
this?
It's something I've been knowing about a long time, but now I'm actually starting to see in the world that people are actually practicing changing the scales of their instruments. Like guitar players kind of did it, they would retune their instruments, but piano players are now doing it, micro tuning these instruments. And I'll tell you a little later about certain people, but I just have to message you private. But just want to let people know, man, you get your music theory up and fine tuning your ears because the music's gonna go to a whole nother level in the
You know,
next.
it's funny. You know how I know you right? You know how I know you right? I don't play instruments, but as soon as you said guitar, I remember that was my first instrument that they tried to teach me in high school. And I remember tuning the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I like the guitar to sound like this. It sounds
Exactly.
off. It sounds offbeat. Like I used to like RZA's keys as a
Exactly.
kid, and I was like tuning the guitar. And now, as you said that, for all MPC producers, if it maybe went over your head, we have been doing it for years. It's called pitching down and pitching up the sample. Except with a
Mm-hmm.
guitarist, you can strum in a particular strum, and you create new notes. Was he saying? See, I would think it was mumbo jumbo because again, I'm a New York pessimist. Let's be honest. Like, but when you said guitar, it instantly made sense of more notes.
Mm-hmm.
It
Bass
instantly made sense.
Because in the past, like some of the classic sample songs, they were tuning to each other. They weren't caring about, the tradition. They're like, it sound good. Oh, that B flat is a little flat. Tune it down to match my piano. And that's how they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? But now we're very aware, like the community, the new community was coming on because the programming is getting so boring that they they're starting to do the micro tunings and creating these new textures. And I'm seeing and I'm hearing it, and I'm like, yo, with the MPC though, we're kind of behind because we can tune it, but like with these key 37 and key 61, if you can program each note, tune each key, the detune is just a little bit. But like I said, this is advanced. This is not for beginners, man. Because you gotta first you gotta hone in on your ear, and then two, you gotta know the theory because you can't just guess this stuff. You're not really gonna be able to hear it because it's micro. It's like
Mm-hmm.
small. But I just threw it in there. I'm talking about this stuff. It's advanced stuff. It's
No,
not
but but
really
but but again, what did Pac say a long time ago? He says, "I'm at least inspired the minds in the future."
Mhm.
Like people don't understand the power of conversation. What you said right now, somebody can just glance this video, yo, for real, and they'll dig in their MPC.
Right.
You just
Exactly.
never know. So I really appreciate you for sharing that. But
Yeah.
before we close this off, because I do want to talk to you as soon as the stream is over, look, for real, especially when you said that. Please direct them to your brand and what you got going on. I'm gonna actually make the screen about you. Let me put you up front. I'm gonna take my.
Okay. Yes, sir, man. Y'all can follow me on the Quickstrike 209 YouTube, Quickstrike 209 Instagram, and then that's how you find me. If you want to email me, quickstrike209 at gmail.com. So that's how you connect with me, man. And I prefer you guys if you leave me messages because sometimes I notice on YouTube, when y'all leaving messages, I don't really get to it. But if you email me, quickstrike209 at gmail.com, that's the best way.
Yeah, you have to show people love that are talented because there's what I call undiscovered producer gems, undiscovered musical gems, and I feel like, and again, my age made me feel this way because we grew up in particular eras. If you knew somebody was lit, especially if he was a DJ, you'd be like,
Oh
yo.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
definitely.
interviewed Quickstrike today because I'm like, yo. You just never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who's good. And it's not about blowing up. It's about talent. It's about talent. You guys saw
Yeah.
the videos. Matter of fact, for those who don't know, subscribe to his YouTube channel right now, Quickstrike 209. You don't believe me? You don't think, oh, who is this guy he's talking to? Oh, who is he talking to? Let's run this back. Y'all gonna tell me anybody's gonna hate right now and say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about? You hear this beat? You hear that? Watch your mouth when you talk about Quickstrike. You heard? Watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? I always gotta bring light, man. It's good energy. Don't lie. I repeat, for those who don't know, especially if you're in the studio session, good energy doesn't lie. Talent and sonics don't lie. If it's funky, it's funky. And that's what I'm trying to tell everybody. Subscribe to Quickstrike, support what he's doing. Because again, I don't know why I'm using this word
That's
funk
right.
OD, but it's true. It's his new funk.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
future funk. It's like new funk. And for
yeah.
those who don't understand what I'm talking about, go to your streaming platform and just listen to Parliament Funkadelic, listen to Come Function. You know what I'm saying? Listen to a whole bunch of groups, look through the funk of the 70s and so on, 60s and so on, and you'll understand what we're talking about. When you see, I don't want to keep it hip hop because he's more than hip hop. You can hear it in the production. It ain't boom boom bap, boom boom bap, sound. Like he said something key when he just said, it's the same programming. And to all the producers who are watching this, don't you want to be innovative to not be stuck in the same programming? Trap drums, doom, da, doom, da, boom, bap, boom, 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 drill, boom, 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 house. Don't you want to get out of the same programming?
Mm-hmm.
And when he said there, everybody's going through the same programming. The new DAWs now have updated. FL Studio, grid view. Now Logic has a grid view. Ableton has new piano rolls. If everybody's using the same programming, how are we going to be different? You got to find your own individual funk. And that's why I'm super happy. And thank you, Quickstrike, for interviewing me. And everybody watch this, subscribe to him, follow him. Please support his movement, share his videos, and share the funk. Do not be a hater, because you never know who you're going to meet. Don't be in somebody's comments. But I bet you if he was in the studio with Quickstrike, he's going to show you the definition of quick strike. No, he ain't going to pop you in the mouth. I'm just talking about with beats, all right? I'm just talking about with beats. I'm not talking about with beats. All right, he ain't going to pop you inside unless you said something crazy.
Hey, I'm quick with the hands, but I'm a negotiator. I'm a
Make them know. Make them know. He said.
I negotiate, I mediate, you know what I'm saying? I talk things out, man. We ain't finna, you ain't gonna upset me like that.
But thank you so much for taking the time. Do not get off. I'm about to talk to you at the end of this stream. But thank you, everybody. Support Quickstrike 209 on YouTube. Support his music. Support what you're doing in producers. The last thing I'll say before I get off, this is your time. Life is too short. You got beats in your hard drives. Do something with it and put your music out, because your passions deserve to be free from your computer. Peace, and we are out for sure. Everybody have a great one.